Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to today's short video. I'm going to show y'all how to change the headlights on the G35. If you guys watched one of my recent videos, you have seen the process to refinish the headlights. They look a lot better, but I wanted to get some new ones. To swap the headlights on the G35, all you got to do is take the bumper off and then unbolt the headlight, swap over the ballast, and that's about it. Let's get to it. I jacked my car up for a better view, but you don't have to jack your car up to get to the bolts underneath the bumper. You want to remove all the ones holding the bumper to the plastic underpiece. We also need to take out these two bolts that are holding in this separate plastic piece to the main underbody piece. I lifted my car up for a better view for you guys. You don't have to lift your car up to get to these plastic rivets on the backside, but if you don't, you're gonna wanna rotate your wheel inward for each wheel well so you can get to these guys, as well as removing these two screws at the top of the wheel well, and then we can really move this plastic piece out of the way. With all those removed, you should be able to work this loose. So you might have to pull on your bumper a little bit. Don't pull too much. And then you can kind of start peeling this back. There's two bolts here that are holding the bumper in. There's one here and then one further back. Once you get the bumper separated a little bit, go ahead and remove the corner lights from the bumper. Next, I'll pop the hood and take out a few of the last plastic rivets. So the hard part's done. Now we just have 4 bolts to take off to get the headlight separated, and then we can disconnect the wiring harness. The quality of the Spec-D headlight looks pretty good compared to the OEM. The OEM looks like a slightly harder plastic. Spec-D also has a couple of these ports here that look like they're taped off. I could see maybe down the road those could let some moisture in. So to get the Spec-D headlight all set up, all we have to do is move the ballast over and the headlight bulb. As you probably saw, these weren't fitting really well into that housing for the bulb. So what I did is I actually sanded this groove out a little bit. Looked like this square groove here was causing the interference. Both headlights were like that. You could blame the bulb itself, but these bulbs fit perfectly in my OEM headlights. So maybe that's a strike against the Spec-D tuning headlights. So my OEM headlights didn't have any issues here. This is the top mounting hole. And if this guy's perfectly lined up right here, I'm not gonna move it. You can look here, and this guy's not quite lined up. You gotta move it down. I could drill out this plastic tab a little bit. There's a little bit of give in the plastic tab before it'll break, of course. So I'll push that a little bit, but I'll just be very careful when I tighten things down. So this is one of the mounting holes for the headlight. And if you use the OEM hardware, it actually interferes with the back of this plastic. So I kept screwing and this started bubbling on the back side. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill this out so that way I don't have to worry about messing up the threads here. This is the bottom tab of the headlight. As you can see, I started to tighten it and it's far from centered. So that's gonna stretch out this plastic. To help out a little bit, I'm actually gonna bore this hole out some with a 1/2" drill bit, and that'll help me position it. So one last tip when you're putting the headlight in, just gently tighten all the bolts so it's secured in place, but leave it pretty loose. Then you can position the headlight as you need to. Check all your panel gaps and maybe very gently push on the headlight to put it where you want it, and then slowly start tightening all 4 of the bolts so that way it stays in place. So these specific Spec-D headlights, I'd say they look really good. I love the way they set the car off, but we did have a couple fitment issues, which is kind of par for the course with aftermarket headlights. So what I didn't do on these headlights is add extra sealant or silicone to those cracks to make sure humidity doesn't get in. I'm gonna test these out as they come and see if they let any water in. Aftermarket headlights typically don't have the best protection on the outside of the lens to protect them from the elements. What I'm gonna do in an upcoming video is apply a clear film to these headlights that'll protect them from rock chips and sun damage. Make sure you guys subscribe and check that video when it comes out. Thanks again for watching. Bye y'all.